the next couple hours, we're going to be listening to, firstly, songs that need a therapist. Songs which, when you think about the lyrics, if not blindingly obvious, could benefit from some time with a therapist, or at least a good session with some friends that they feel safe with to share. Then in the second hour, we'll hear songs which in some respect or other take the voice of the therapist, or at least someone trying to take the voice of the therapist. Sometimes successfully, maybe sometimes not. We'll have a look and a listen. Now, just to be clear, we are taking a largely light-hearted look at a very important thing here this evening. Yes, mental health. I do need to say this, light-hearted look, and in that it is emphasising that it's going to be a pleasing, happy playlist. I don't want to play songs and talk for 2 hours and then leaving us feeling miserable. No, but dropping some ideas, thoughts, considerations into our minds and music which might be seeds of something positive which helps our mood in the moment, or perhaps even nudge towards a longer term help. Now, I do need to say, if any of us are in a mental health crisis, and we can get very good at hiding that, please reach out to someone. There are a number of organisations, a friend, the Samaritans, something which can signpost a way forward or through things, or give company in difficult moments. Now, the therapist's couch is open for the various songs this evening. We've already heard from Living on My Own by Freddie Mercury, responding to the Beatles' Help. Now, one of the best ways to conceal a very unhappy song is to put it to a very happy melody, which indeed we heard there from Freddie Mercury. A song which I hear and I think this is actually a very unhappy song is Whitney Houston, I Wanna Dance with Somebody. Have a good listen, close listen to the lyrics. Songs that need a therapist, and I fancy possibly this is one of the best contenders for songs that need a therapist this evening. We are going to a 1969 musical film based on a 1951 musical, Paint Your Wagon. Now, I've been trying to find out a little bit more of the character's story in the film, a character called Ben Rumson, because the song which he sings in the film, which is sung by Marvin, is a very, very sorry tale indeed. It almost, I think, perhaps comes a little bit comedic. It is so sad and so negative. It's I Was Born Under a Wandering Star. You probably do know the song. And some of the lyrics go like this. Wheels are made for rolling, mules are made to pack. I've never seen a sight that didn't look better rolling back. I was born under a wandering star. Mud can make you prisoner, and the plains can bake you dry. Snow can burn your eyes, but only people make you cry. Home is made for coming from, for dreams of going to, which, with any luck, will never come true. I was born under a wandering star, and so on. Do I know where hell is? Hell is in hello. Heaven is goodbye forever. It's time for me to go. I was born under a wandering star. When I get to heaven, tie me to a tree, or I'll begin to roam, and soon you know where I will be. My goodness, that is a sorry state of affairs to get into emotionally. And Ben Rumson, I hope you do have a therapist you can go and see it out there in the Wild West. Now, let's hear the song now. Marvin, Wandering Star from Paint Your Wagon. Now, another tune on our list of songs that need a therapist this evening. I'm going to link it to Wandering Star with The Wanderer, a song about how a man has attachment issues and moves on from one woman to another. Might be a controversial choice. I don't know. You're welcome to disagree with me. Do get in touch through the app or on air at radiowarrington.co.uk. But sometimes I play around with songs in my head and try and position it from different voices. And can you imagine if you have this song, Status Quo, The Wanderer, which I am aware was written, this is a cover song, and there have been many covers of the song. If you put this song to the voice of a woman and her conquests, can you imagine how one may react to it, how we may react to it culturally? You might call her a runaround Sue or a day tripper, Let's have a listen. For Wanderer, Status Quo. For Wanderer, and originally, of course, done by Dion in 1961. And I deliberately name-checked the song Run Around Sue, because Run Around Sue, about a disloyal woman, was ironically the track he released before The Wanderer, both in 1961. An interesting one. A very happy tune, and my first introduction to it was, of course, the Status Quo song in the 80s. Next song on our list of songs which need a therapist. Again, this is possibly a contentious choice, but sometimes something so good, something so nice and meaningful happens, we kind of get stuck in a moment and we can't get out of it. So yes, of course, that is name-checking another song which I could put in this evening, the U2 track. But I'm going to put into the mix this evening for our consideration of songs you could do with a little bit of a chat with, is Echo Beach, Martha and the Muffins. And listening to the lyrics, something really good happens on Echo Beach, and all she wants to do is to go back in time, back to Echo Beach, and that's what gets her through the time. Maybe good as a coping mechanism, but I don't know. Is it good just to want to return to one place so much? Up for discussion. Let's hear the song. Great tune from the early 2000s. Everybody's changing, and I don't feel the same. Song by Keane, and it's written from a place where they felt that they were stuck and weren't yet being successful, and all their friends and people they knew were moving on, but they were stuck. Yeah, brilliant tune. Right. Next up on our list of songs which may need a therapist, could do with a talking to. This is an absolute classic. You'll know it within the first 2-3 beats. I won't say what it is. You can just listen in. And of course, we were listening to the logical song, Supertramp, going back to 1979. I think I can just about remember hearing that on the radio in the kitchen where we lived at the time. And of course, it was covered by happy hardcore band Scooter in 2001, which is an equally good but very different styled version of it. Now, keeping it in the very thoughtful songs, we are jumping back to 1974, a song by Harry Chapin. Let me get the name right. Harry Chapin. And it's Cats in the Cradle, a song about getting older and reflecting on things you've done and regretting them, perhaps. Let's hear it. I remember the first time I got this song, I was actually out in Leek in Staffordshire, and I remember hearing it on a national radio station and understanding the lyrics for the first time, and it really cut. It really brought a lump to my throat. And I would say, yes, this ranks quite highly in the songs which I think could do with going to a therapist and having a talk about how they feel. A song with a story, and yeah, it's got a real punch to it. Also covered in 1992 by Ugly Kid Joe. Right, next song. To consider as a candidate for songs which need a therapist, and living your life to just please others isn't a way to it. And here's a very intriguing song from Britney Spears, Born to Make You Happy. I was trying to go for a song called Lucky, how she sings, or how the song sings about being rich and famous, but you're still crying yourself to sleep at night. I don't know how much of an input Britney had into her own songs, but a lot of them seem to reflect a very unhappy period in her life. And isn't it a really good thing? I'm really grateful that her life now seems much more under her control and she's in a much better place mentally. But let's listen to Born to Make You Happy. Next up, actually, hang on a minute. I need to give a shout out. Just a shout out to Rebecca and Rebecca's mum. Rebecca's mum suggested that anything by Leonard Cohen needs to see a therapist. That's a good one. That's an interesting one. We'll have to discuss that sometime. Thank you very much, Rebecca, and your mum. Whilst I've been listening to the last few things play out, I've also remembered a song that could go for a therapist's couch, and it's by the German group Rammstein, and a song called Du Hast. And it's full of the sort of gloriously dysfunctional, unhappy lyrics that Rammstein thrive on, but obviously coached in German. You've got to have some kind of handle on German to appreciate actually how negative and how much the seeking therapy many of their songs need. But it is really good music to turn up and listen to and immerse into. Maybe one day go and see one of their concerts as well. The pyrotechnics are legendarily awesome. Rammstein, du Hast. Wake Me Up When September Ends, Green Day. A song about bereavement and loss. And if you're rather fond of music memes, you will see the memes circulating each year around the end of September, start of October, advising the writer and singer Billy Joe Armstrong that he can now wake up. Apparently, this causes him enormous displeasure, and he would write a song which would feature words that we would not be able to broadcast on public radio. He doesn't want people to wake him up when September ends and wish those memes would stop. But it's a very good song, used a lot in media and coverage to do with Hurricane Katrina and other examples of loss and bereavement. Moving on, next up, an 80s classic, Mad World, Tears for Fears. So this has been a playlist of songs which need or could do perhaps a chat with a therapist or their friends. It is a considerably shorter list than the provisional one I'd drawn up and have been scrolling through on some streaming services. And to balance that playlist, we will have in the second hour of the show songs which are the therapist, or at least try and take that voice. Leading us into the top of this hour and into the next, we can have Daniel Bedingfield in a sorry state about If You're Not the One. And then at the top of the next hour, we will have his sister giving him some advice on romantic affairs, that maybe you don't need to be attached. Maybe you could be single. I'm Tim Previtt. I will join you again in a few minutes' time.